Sure. So I spent 11 years in professional services. So firstly trained with Deloitte in audit. Then I moved to corporate finance with Deloitte and then into BDO in corporate finance. In 2009, took my first move into industry and I went to Southern Water. I spent 7 years there and I worked across a variety of departments and roles, which was really great background. Firstly, I joined the Treasury team, so that was looking at debt, bond raising, swaps, but actually that was quite external to the business, and I really thought I wanted a role that was a bit more kind of integral to the business, working with people rather than on the outside of it. So I then set up the Finance Business Performance team, which you and I first met, Steve. You recruited quite a few of them for me, thank you. So spent a couple of years building up a team of business partners, working with the business to bring in KPIs, operational performance. After that, the CFO's request, I then did a 6-month secondment to the customer services team, where I was head of reporting and analytics. So again, looking at data, but from the customer side rather than the finance side. After that one, a complete segue, did 2 years in HR. I was head of people services there, so that was looking after all of the transactional HR, recruitment, reward, whole variety of things, people related, which was really great, kind of marrying people and finance together. But after that, I realised actually I was missing that core finance element of the role, so at that point I decided to look for a job kind of back in core finance. So from there I moved to Leaders Estate Agents and I was the Group Financial Controller there. Totally different business, looking after 120 branches around the country, around 1,500 staff. I had a finance team of 16 people there responsible for all of the day-to-day finance and payroll. And then from there, the role before this one, I was Finance Director at HPC PLC, which is a precision engineering company. And in that role I was Finance Director, but I was also responsible for IT and HR in that role. My corporate finance days meant that I saw a whole range of different businesses, different sectors all around the world. And when you're buying and selling companies on behalf of other people, you have to look at the whole business beyond the finance. So you're looking at what are the operational drivers, you're looking at the management teams, you're looking at the historical financials, and also the projections, do they make sense? So you have to get this holistic view of the business, and I just found that really fascinating. So I think that was the start of me always trying to look beyond just the pure finance of a business. Just take every opportunity you can. So I have always taken every opportunity to do development courses, training courses, just always put my hand up to go and do those. I trained as a chartered accountant, but then I also did corporate finance qualification, and then along the way in the different roles that I've had, I've done HR training, HR management, also reward management. I've done a black belt in Lean Six Sigma, which is process efficiencies. I've done project management training, and I've done various leadership courses along the way. It can be really hard when you've got a demanding job to find the time to study as well, and I also have a 9-year-old son, so looking after the family as well. But I've never regretted having done that, and I think it's given me a broad skill set that is always there to give me that underlying confidence. So advice would just be go for it, get as much training development as you can. Every day is different, it's completely varied. I never know what I'll be doing from one day to the next, and for me that's what's so great. But examples of what I might get involved in, I could be reviewing client reports, negotiating contracts, I might be out networking, doing business development, looking at the operational things, so reviewing the accounts. I'm also line manager to the senior leadership team, so I spend quite a lot of my time chatting to people, which is great. And I try to get a balance between looking at the strategic business priorities, but also keeping a really close eye on the day-to-day operational issues. So I am an expert at getting toilets fixed, for example. So at Man Bites Dog, two of our core sectors are professional services and financial services, and that's exactly my background. And we also use complex data to create strategic marketing campaigns for our global clients. And again, with a data background, it's great that I've joined a company where I can get involved and help support the client teams doing some of that data. The work we do is interesting and challenging, and the team here are just amazing. So I learn something from them every day. And also, it's a really fun place to be. So because the role is so varied, it can be quite hard to plan your time. You have competing priorities that arise all the time that you didn't necessarily see coming. So I think a challenge is just to manage your time, to prioritise things, and also just to be able to remain calm under pressure. The team will look to me, if we're particularly busy, to be the one who will say, right, we'll do this, then we'll do this, and actually it will be great, we'll get everything done. So our CEO, Claire, who's also the founder of the business, she has quite an external client-facing role. So she will spend a lot of her time out with clients or out networking, developing business opportunities. She's super creative, super intelligent, so she's always coming up with really insightful campaigns. My role, on the other hand, I'm more internal. I'm checking that everything works operationally, working with the brilliant support teams here so that we can ensure that Claire and the client teams can always deliver that brilliant service to our clients. We also have really complementary skill sets. So the things that she gets her energy and motivation from are very different from mine, and actually we complement each other really well. And she once said, which was kind of a nice thing, that she sort of sees us as the yin and yang of the business, because we just kind of complete that circle. I think it can be great, and it can be a real step towards becoming a COO because it gives you that wider experience, but you also have to be interested in it and have some kind of skill, or at least be prepared to learn, because you can't just be a line manager notionally. It's not an admin task. You've got to be able to support those heads of function and not just leave them on their own. So I think it can work. It can put you out of your comfort zone. You can be taking on an area that you've really not done before, but it can be a great opportunity. So as a finance director, you have to have a really good overview of the whole business. You've got to understand operationally what's driving that financial performance. So that lends itself to a COO role. Most FDs also will have quite a lot of skills around leadership, around project management. That's the nature of the work that you do in finance. And again, those skills are really transferable. And I think that ultimately as a COO, your responsibility is for making operational decisions about the business that will ultimately lead back to the financial performance. So I think there's a really natural fit for FDs to become COOs. The job title COO can mean so many things. It depends on the size of the business, the nature of the business. So I would advise someone thinking about it to just talk to as many COOs as you can, really understand what that role can mean, make sure that you're going for one where it's the kind of role that you want. Also take a good look at yourself. It can help to work with a coach or a mentor just to understand what your skills are, but also where you might have some development areas. I've been really fortunate that over the course of my career I've worked with a number of mentors and coaches, and they've really helped me develop, and they've really helped challenge my thinking and help me to push myself to achieve what I can. And overall I'd just say go for it. Sometimes you just have to step outside your comfort zone and just give it a go. No, definitely not. So I love the broader strategic business aspect of the roles. For me, the longer term goal would be to be more of a strategic business advisor. So I'd love to have a portfolio of non-executive positions.